Benedict, you're right there by the crowds as the king and queen are waving. What can you hear being chanted?
God save the king. I'm not sure if I heard God save the queen. A few people might have been saying that, but wow, what an image to see them, as I mentioned before and predicted, they'd both come out.
On December 7th, 2025, the crown will change hands, and with it, the fate of Queen Camilla. Palace insiders confirm that Prince William's coronation will be the dawn of a new royal era, one with no place for the woman who once stood beside the king. From stripped titles to an exile at Ray Mill House, this is the inside story of how Camilla is being erased from the monarchy, step by calculated step. Coronation date confirmed. The news broke quietly, but hit like thunder inside the palace walls. Buckingham Palace confirmed that King Charles III will abdicate on December 7, 2025, ending a reign that began just over 3 years earlier in 2022. Officially, the palace statement cited health and stability of the monarchy as the reason. But insiders whispered about long-standing tensions and a desire to hand the crown to Prince William before the public mood turned. The announcement instantly set a clock ticking, less than 12 months until the throne changes hands. Prince William's coronation date was set for the same day as his father's abdication, an unprecedented move in modern British history. By aligning both events on December 7th, royal aides ensured there would be no vacuum of leadership and no drawn-out speculation about transition plans. However, it also meant an intense schedule for the monarchy's senior staff, who now had under a year to prepare the largest royal event since the 1953 coronation of Queen Elizabeth II. For Camilla, the countdown signaled something far more personal. Her days as queen were numbered. Almost immediately after the date was locked in, ceremonial duties began shifting in subtle but unmistakable ways. Official engagements scheduled for spring 2025 listed William and Catherine as leads, while Camilla's name appeared far less frequently. Some of her appearances were postponed, others quietly reassigned to Princess Anne or Sophie, Duchess of Edinburgh. These changes were justified as streamlining, but palace insiders called them the first phase of William's reshaping of the monarchy. The press wasted no time framing this as the dawn of the new era of William and Catherine. Major papers ran front-page spreads with side-by-side images of the couple, often contrasted against a fatigued Charles and a smiling but sidelined Camilla. The headlines made the shift clear. This was not just succession. It was a full-scale rebranding of the crown. For the first time in decades, the monarchy's future image was being shaped months before the actual coronation. Behind the polished announcement of December 7, 2025, lay months of quiet maneuvering. For William, this wasn't just a date. It was a strategic opportunity to solidify his authority before taking the throne. And for Camilla, it was the ticking sound of a countdown clock. She could neither slow nor stop. What came next would confirm the rumors already spreading through London's corridors of power, that the incoming king had no intention of letting the current queen keep her titles or influence once the crown passed to him. Camilla's future under William's rule. Whispers inside Clarence House suggest that William's first act as king will be to strip Camilla of all formal royal titles. This would mean removing the styling of queen consort and reverting her to a courtesy title with no constitutional weight. Such a move would be unprecedented in recent British history, but aides claim William sees it as necessary to protect the moral legacy of the monarchy. For Camilla, who spent nearly 18 years transitioning from Duchess to Queen, the decision would be a personal and public blow. Her current official residence at Buckingham Palace is expected to be reassigned within weeks of the coronation. Sources point to plans to house working royals more centrally, with Camilla being relocated permanently to her private Ray Mill house in Wiltshire, a property she purchased in 1996, long before her marriage to Charles in 2005. This shift would effectively remove her from the daily operations of the monarchy, leaving her far from both the ceremonial heart of London and the corridors of power. Invitations to state banquets, foreign tours, and Privy Council meetings, standard for a queen consort, will reportedly no longer bear her name. Instead, these duties will fall to Catherine, whose growing popularity has made her the palace's preferred public face. This would also mean Camilla's absence from key diplomatic events in capitals such as Paris, Ottawa, and Canberra, where she has previously represented the crown. Even her long-standing patronages may be quietly reassigned to other members of the family. Perhaps most telling is the rumored reduction of her personal security detail. Camilla's current royal protection officers are assigned under the authority of the reigning monarch. Once William becomes king, insiders suggest her team could be scaled back by as much as 50%, a clear indication of her diminished role. For someone who once stood beside the sovereign at state ceremonies, it is a visible sign that her chapter in the royal story is closing. If Camilla's personal demotion sounds dramatic, William's plans for her wider family are even more decisive. His vision of a slimmed-down monarchy leaves no room for the Parker-Bowles clan's occasional brush with royal privilege. While they have never been full working royals, Camilla's children have long enjoyed limited access to events and connections. Under William's reign, that access will end, transforming not just her future, but the position of her entire family within the British royal framework. Stripping the Parker-Bowles family influence. For years, Camilla's children, Tom Parker-Bowles and Laura Lopes, have occupied a unique position, close enough to the crown to attend major events, yet officially outside the line of succession. Under William's incoming rules, that status will disappear entirely. Invitations to Trooping the Colour, royal weddings, and state ceremonies will no longer extend to them. William's advisors argue that such events should reflect the direct bloodline of the monarch, a subtle but deliberate exclusion of Camilla's family. Existing patronages with loose connections to the Parker-Bowles family are already under review. Several charities where Tom or Laura have appeared alongside Camilla may soon find themselves reassigned to working royals such as Princess Anne or the Duke and Duchess of Edinburgh. This shift not only removes them from public view, but also erases the quiet influence they've built through charitable networks over the past 2 decades. For William, it's a matter of drawing clear lines. For Camilla, it's another erosion of her legacy. Social appearances will also change. Where once Camilla's children could be photographed in the royal box at Ascot or seated near the royal family at memorial services, these privileges are expected to be rescinded. It is a sharp contrast to the integrated role they enjoyed during Charles's reign. Even their relationship with certain palace staff, some of whom acted as informal liaisons, will likely dissolve after December 7, 2025. The shift sends a strong message that the monarchy's future will be defined by bloodline over blended family. Behind the scenes, this removal of influence is seen as a calculated part of William's reset of the crown. By removing extended family connections from official events, he not only streamlines the monarchy, but also distances his reign from the controversies of the 1990s and early 2000s. The Parker-Bowles name, so often tied to royal scandal in the press, will fade from official mention. For William's supporters, it's a symbolic step toward restoring the public's trust in the institution. With Camilla's personal future narrowed and her family's ties to the monarchy severed, all eyes turn to King Charles. For decades, he has been her staunchest ally, defending her against criticism and guiding her into royal life. But as the abdication date approaches, palace sources say the king is preparing to step aside without challenging his son's decisions. His quiet acceptance of this plan leaves Camilla without the one voice that might have protected her when the crown finally passes to William. Charles's quiet acceptance. For much of his 74-year life, King Charles III has fought to maintain control over the monarchy's direction. Yet palace insiders confirm that as December 7, 2025 approaches, he has privately accepted that Prince William will take full control without interference. His public appearances have become softer, his tone less assertive, and his once detailed involvement in royal scheduling has noticeably faded. Some courtiers say the king now appears more like a ceremonial figure than an active strategist, a marked change from the early days of his reign in 2022. Reports from Clarence House suggest Charles is focused on engineering what aides call a dignified exit. This means no public disputes with William, no visible resistance to the transition, and no last-minute battles over Camilla's position. Friends close to the king say his health, while not publicly detailed, has been impacted by the relentless pace of royal duties. By quietly stepping back now, he avoids the kind of drawn-out leadership struggles that marked the late reign of other European monarchs in the 20th century. For Camilla, this acceptance is a devastating shift. For nearly 18 years, Charles has been her protector, the one person within the family willing to push back against public criticism and court whispers. But with his abdication date locked, his willingness to fight for her role has evaporated. Those who know her say she has grown more withdrawn, spending less time in the official residences and more days at Ray Mill House in Wiltshire, her personal sanctuary since 1996. The king has allegedly advised Camilla to prepare for a different chapter once he steps down. While the wording sounds gentle, it is understood to be a quiet acknowledgement that she will not retain the position she holds now. Without Charles at the helm, she loses not only the crown beside her name, but also the institutional weight that has shielded her from palace politics. In the court of public opinion, and within the family, she will soon stand alone. If Charles's silence leaves Camilla politically exposed, William's loudest guiding force is no mystery. Behind every decision about titles, patronages, and public image lies the shadow of Princess Diana. Her memory has shaped William's worldview since childhood, and in this transition, he sees an opportunity to honor her legacy in ways his father never could. What's coming next is not just a coronation. It's the symbolic rewriting of the monarchy's recent history, with Camilla's name quietly but firmly written out of the central narrative. Diana's legacy as William's guiding force. For Prince William, the December 7, 2025 coronation will be more than a formal ascension. It will be a public tribute to his mother, Princess Diana, who died in 1997 at just 36 years old. Sources close to Kensington Palace say William has instructed planners to weave Diana's legacy into every stage of the event, from the music to the charitable causes highlighted. His aim is to repair what he sees as the moral fabric of the monarchy, frayed in part by the controversies of the 1990s. Plans are already underway to reinstate many of Diana's royal patronages under Catherine's name, signaling a return to her philanthropic priorities. Organizations focused on homelessness, AIDS research, and youth support, causes Diana championed relentlessly, will once again receive royal attention at the highest level. By doing so, William sends a clear message. The crown will be associated with compassion, accessibility, and the people's trust, just as it was in his mother's day. One of the most talked about possibilities is William making a public reference to Diana during the coronation ceremony itself. While such a gesture would be unprecedented in modern royal history, it would also serve as a direct acknowledgement of her enduring influence. Royal commentators speculate that this could come in the form of a brief speech, or even a symbolic moment, such as displaying one of Diana's personal items within Westminster Abbey on the coronation day. Charities Diana championed will feature prominently in the first months of William's reign. It's expected that high-profile visits to these organizations will be among his first official acts as king, likely taking place within 90 days of the coronation. For Camilla, this is perhaps the most painful shift of all. Each tribute to Diana strengthens the narrative that the monarchy is correcting past wrongs. And in that story, Camilla's controversial past will be quietly erased from the institution's forward-facing image. While Diana's memory provides the emotional compass for William's reign, the practical force driving this transformation will be Catherine. As queen consort, she will not only inherit Camilla's ceremonial duties, but also reshape them to reflect her own priorities. Her influence has been growing for years, and with the coronation on the horizon, she's poised to become the most visible female figure in the monarchy. That rise will leave Camilla entirely out of the frame, both publicly and behind the scenes. Catherine's expanding role. From the moment Buckingham Palace confirmed the December 7, 2025 date, Catherine began preparing to step into the role of Queen Consort. This title will grant her all ceremonial privileges previously held by Camilla, including representing the crown at state dinners, foreign tours, and military commemorations. Within weeks of the coronation, Catherine will assume key military patronages, such as honorary colonelcies, that have long been symbolic positions of influence within the British Armed Forces. Her leadership in mental health initiatives, children's welfare, and early education will be elevated to national priority status under the new reign. Already, her Shaping Us campaign has received renewed funding commitments from major UK institutions, a sign of how seamlessly her work aligns with William's modernization agenda. These initiatives are expected to be showcased heavily in the first 6 months of William's kingship, signaling a monarchy more connected to everyday citizens than ever before. Catherine's growing role is not accidental. It's the result of years of calculated preparation. Behind the scenes, she has built strong diplomatic relationships across the Commonwealth, cultivating ties in countries like Canada, Australia, and New Zealand. This network will be essential in reinforcing the monarchy's relevance beyond the UK's borders. With these connections, Catherine becomes not just William's partner, but also his most trusted political ally on the global stage. Every public appearance Catherine makes after the coronation will reinforce her position as the central female figure in the monarchy. Her diplomatic poise and popularity stand in stark contrast to Camilla's more reserved and often polarizing public profile. By the time the first year of William's reign concludes, Catherine's presence will be so established that Camilla's absence will hardly be noted, a deliberate outcome of the new king's vision for the royal household. With William and Catherine firmly in control, attention will also turn to the next generation. The coronation will not just be a moment for the new king and queen, it will be a stage for their children to step into public roles. Of these, Princess Charlotte is set to take the spotlight in a way that signals the monarchy's long-term strategy. Her visibility will not only charm the public, but also underscore the total irrelevance of Camilla's earlier objections to her early royal training. the Charlotte factor. When December 7, 2025 arrives, it won't just mark King William's coronation. It will also introduce Princess Charlotte as a visible working member of the royal family. At just 10 years old, Charlotte is expected to play a prominent role in the ceremony, standing beside Queen Catherine during key moments. Palace planners believe her poised demeanor and confident public speaking skills will captivate audiences in the UK and across the Commonwealth. Charlotte will accompany her mother during high-profile segments of the coronation procession, echoing the warmth and accessibility that Princess Diana displayed with her sons in the 1980s and 1990s. These appearances are carefully designed to appeal to younger generations, many of whom see the royal family as distant. By showing Charlotte in a relatable yet regal light, the monarchy signals a generational shift that keeps the institution relevant beyond 2025. Behind the scenes, Charlotte's training in diplomacy and royal protocol has been accelerated over the past 2 years. She has reportedly been receiving private coaching in public speaking, media awareness, and the subtleties of state etiquette. This preparation mirrors William's own grooming under Diana, reinforcing the idea that Charlotte will one day carry significant public responsibilities. Her debut on Coronation Day will be the first formal step into that future. Camilla's earlier opposition to Charlotte's early involvement in public duties has now been rendered irrelevant. Under William's reign, Charlotte's presence is not just welcomed, it is central to the family's public image strategy. The contrast between the vibrant, youthful princess and the absent, sidelined Camilla will be striking, further underscoring the new king's decision to close the door on the old order. If the sight of a confident young princess signals renewal, public opinion will decide whether that renewal truly takes hold. The months leading up to December 7, 2025, have already revealed a dramatic shift in how Britons view the monarchy. As William's popularity surges and Catherine's approval reaches record highs, Camilla finds herself facing the harsh reality of a rapidly declining public image. That decline will accelerate as the coronation approaches, with media and social sentiment framing her as a relic of a past the monarchy wants to leave behind. Public opinion and media pressure. Recent polls conducted in summer 2025 show record levels of public support for William and Catherine, with approval ratings climbing above 80%. By contrast, Camilla's ratings have fallen to below 25%, the lowest since she married Charles in 2005. These numbers have given the new royal team the political space to make sweeping changes without fear of public backlash, even when those changes involve removing a queen consort from active duty. Media headlines reflect this shift. Tabloids call William's coronation the people's moment, while broadsheets focus on the new king's first test, reforming the royal household. International outlets, from the New York Times to Le Monde, openly discuss the possibility of Camilla's removal from all royal duties. In television interviews, royal correspondents increasingly speak of her in the past tense, as if her time on the public stage is already over. Social media has amplified this narrative. Hashtags like #QueenCatherine and #DianaEraRestored have trended repeatedly in the weeks since the coronation date was announced. On platforms like X and Instagram, edited videos juxtapose William's family with footage of Diana, reinforcing the idea that his reign is a moral reset. This online enthusiasm builds momentum for William's changes, making it nearly impossible for Camilla to rally significant public sympathy. Even within palace walls, the shift in sentiment is evident. Staff members who once worked for Camilla have begun moving to roles under William and Catherine. Longtime allies in the press have stopped defending her, focusing instead on the excitement surrounding the coronation. Without public support, media protection, or internal allies, Camilla's position becomes untenable, a reality that sets the stage for her final exclusion. As public approval drains away, Camilla's influence within the palace has already begun to collapse. Her absence from decision-making meetings, her shrinking public schedule, and the quiet reassignment of her staff all point to a deliberate dismantling of her role. By the time the coronation takes place, she will be a queen in title only, no longer shaping events, no longer standing beside the sovereign. The machinery of the monarchy is already moving forward without her, and it is not slowing down. Camilla's diminishing power inside the palace. In the months before December 7, 2025, Camilla's power inside the palace has been reduced to almost nothing. Senior staff loyal to her have been reassigned to Kensington Palace, where they now serve William and Catherine. Planning committees for state events no longer include her input, with her name absent from documents where it once appeared prominently. These changes are not accidental. They are part of a coordinated transition plan approved by the highest levels of the royal household. Her diary of public appearances has been cut by more than 60% compared to 2023. Official explanations cite logistical adjustments, but insiders confirm this is a deliberate choice to keep her out of the spotlight. Even traditional ceremonial roles at Windsor Castle and Sandringham, duties she had performed since the early 2000s, are being reassigned to Princess Anne and Sophie, Duchess of Edinburgh. Former allies in the press have shifted their attention to William's modernization agenda. Without favorable coverage, Camilla's rare public appearances now receive minimal media attention, often buried beneath stories about the incoming king and queen. This lack of visibility accelerates her fading influence, creating a feedback loop in which her reduced role justifies even less public engagement. Inside the palace, her isolation is almost complete. Meetings with senior courtiers are infrequent, and she spends increasing amounts of time at Ray Mill House. Staff who still work for her describe an atmosphere of resignation. While she retains her current title until the abdication, it is already clear that her role in royal life has ended in all but name. With Camilla already sidelined, the coronation will serve as the final, formal act of removal. In public, it will be framed as a graceful retirement. Behind closed doors, it is the culmination of William's strategy to reshape the monarchy in his image. Every detail, from the reassignment of residences to the redistribution of patronages, has been planned in advance. The result will be a palace without Camilla, a monarchy recast for the future, and a new reign that begins by closing one of the crown's most controversial chapters. The final removal. Within weeks of the December 7, 2025 coronation, Camilla will formally retire from public royal life. She will retain a courtesy title, likely Queen Dowager, but without operational duties or official influence. This arrangement mirrors the quiet retirement of other royal consorts in history, though rarely has it been applied with such finality. Her removal from the daily functions of the crown will be complete. Royal residences will be reassigned. The apartments she occupied at Buckingham Palace will go to working royals, while Ray Mill House becomes her permanent base. The security detail that once accompanied her to every engagement will be reduced to a small, private team. Even the state vehicles she previously used will be reassigned, a symbolic yet telling sign of her changed status. Her charitable patronages, built over nearly 2 decades, will be redistributed among Catherine, Princess Anne, and other active royals. This reassignment ensures that her public work continues under the Crown's banner, but without her personal involvement. In the eyes of the public, These causes will quickly become associated with their new patrons, further erasing Camilla from the royal brand. Officially, her exit will be described as a graceful withdrawal to focus on private life. Unofficially, it will be understood as the final victory of William's long-term plan, a plan rooted in restoring the monarchy's image, honoring Diana's legacy, and securing a bloodline-focused future. For Camilla, it will be the end of a journey that began with controversy and ends in quiet exile. As the golden carriage carries King William and Queen Catherine through cheering crowds, Camilla will watch from the shadows. No titles, no palace, no power. Her removal will be framed as dignified retreat, but history will remember it as the moment the monarchy closed its most controversial chapter. This isn't just a coronation. It's a quiet execution of influence, a decisive victory for Diana's legacy, and the ultimate reshaping of Britain's royal future. The old reign ends. The new begins.